Welcome again to football's global hub. This is my match reaction of the Revolution victory against Columbus Crew on Saturday. It is my 5 takeaways from that victory, and I'll be going through it in probably 15 to 20 minutes to look back at this victory for the Revs. I look forward to talking about it. I've watched the match live, and I'll share what I watched and what I took away from it, which is really some positive things to get to in this episode. If you're not familiar with the show, this is a show based out of Boston. I live in Boston. This will not be exclusively a Revolution podcast. It'll be about the game in the Boston area. We'll be talking World Cup. Hopefully, I'll be talking about some of the other local clubs as well. Maybe talking about world football in general. But I am going to be talking a lot about the Revolution, positively and negatively. But there's more positives to take away from this victory than negatives. I'm sure there are going to be people that will have negatives. I've already listened for the majority of the Revolution recap, and they have basically their mailbag where people send in their questions. And I would say, generally speaking, there are a lot of negative comments. It happens. And I just want to say I respect people's views positively and negatively, but the fans of the Revolution, which I will call the Fellowship of the Miserable, the Revolution Fellowship of the Miserable, I just want to mention that this is something that is unique to the Boston area. This does not happen around the country. By the way, if you're watching live, I had my banner incorrectly. I had my Cottage Talk banner up there. So there's a Goldman for you. By the way, when a mistake is made, I call it a Goldman. It goes back to actually Patriots 4th and 2. So, like I said, the Revolution have really great support. Really do. But living in this area, one of the things that has factored into the experience of following any sports team in this area, it's the Fellowship of the Miserable. It was a term that Rick Pitino came up with probably in the late 90s talking about the media, but it actually is not just about the media, but it is about the overall experience. It's the media. It could be the supporters just always thinking the worst, the what ifs in the world. Now, for me, there's a difference of critiquing and just thinking the worst and always doing the yeah, but. If you want to do the yeah, but with me, so be it. But I'm going to give you the positives because I am a glass half full person, probably more than glass half full. So if you are less than half full or pretty much empty, you can have it. But I'm just telling you right now, the rest of the world do not act like this. They do not go into thinking the worst of every sports team. We do it here in New England. Again, it goes back to the Red Sox before my father, my grandfather. It is that experience. It started with the Red Sox. Basically, I thought it would go away, but it never went away. And it really is the Fellowship of the Miserable. I refuse to be a member of the Fellowship of the Miserable. I'm not going to live my life that way. I'm going to be more positive. So if you want to critique and talk about the things that went wrong, that is all fair and good. But when you take it and you try to take away a victory and marginalize a victory like this one, I've got an issue with that. That is showing that you are a member of the Fellowship of the Miserable. And not a big fan of the Fellowship of the Miserable, as you can tell. But let's get into my initial reaction. And it's this. What's going on with the Revolution is bigger than one match. It's bigger than winning 4 matches at home. I think that is a symptom of the positives that are going on here. It's a culture change. I'll be talking about that in my 5 takeaways. I was never a fan of the former manager, just never was. I thought that he was the wrong hire after Bruce Arena. And I think it's playing out that way. And I think part of it is a culture issue. It's when the team is about the manager and not about the team and the players and everyone. What I'm learning and watching from the Revolution is that this is a team effort. And that's what makes this different. I noticed that under Bruce Arena as well. The best coaches don't make it just about themselves like Porter did. You make it about the team. You make it about the organization. And that's what we're seeing. And then when your players buy into the team, but buy into the culture, you get good results. You get players fighting for, as we would say with Fulham, fighting for the shirt. And it's the same thing with the Revolution. The players are fighting for the shirt. They are enjoying their football too. So, but the big thing that I took away of this is when you can overcome issues during a match and be able to come from behind. Now they've done it a few times. That to me is a massive positive sign. You lose your best defender, and it could have turned the match into disarray, but it didn't. It almost becomes a situation where it brings everyone together, and then you have to find another way to win. And Brian Ceballos, and I'll talk about this coming up, is a loss. But one of my takeaways will be how they overcame that and how that led to the victory, because it certainly did. Easily could have failed from there. But there are so many things. Like I said, first half, the Columbus Crew, and they're going to be people that are going to be critical of them if they look at their record. That's a good side. Many good players there. Well drilled, looked like a team that knows how they're playing, knows how they want to play. And the Revolution is still figuring that out. So that first half, again, the Revolution were on the back foot for the majority of the time, and you could see it. We'll find out in the second half. Part of it was, I think, they had to ratchet up the pressure themselves. They needed to be more aggressive, and we saw that in the second half. They were a little bit too passive in the first half, and they let that match get dictated by the Columbus Crew. And you can see their passing, it was really good. But what's also good, if you really think about it, and if you look deeper into it, the Revolution, besides giving up that one goal, which was a bad goal to give up, they're still well drilled. They're still in their shape. The Revolution were pretty much in their shape and able to overcome this. The question would be, could they ratchet it up in the second half? And they did that. And that to me is a testament to Marko Mitrovic, his coaching staff, and the players. Because I was just thinking, get to the half. Even though you're down, get to the half and flip the script. And that's exactly what we saw in this match. And you saw, like I said, so many good things. You know, Dor Turgeman has a lonely job at times. I'm used to this with Fulham. I'll put him in the category of Raul Jimenez. Works very hard. Doesn't get the service that maybe he would want to get. But when you need him to step up, he is there and he's working hard. And again, he'll be in my keys, or I should say, there's a golden 5 takeaways from this match. But again, so many more positives than negatives, so many things to look forward to. Tough matches coming up. But I think if you're a Revolution fan, you should be looking forward to what is going on. And I listened to a great podcast. I'm sure everyone listens to Revolution Recap. Please listen to them because I think they had some really good insight. But my eyes tell me that I'm seeing a culture change. And that is really what is coming out of this match for me. It's just a continuation. Could they continue to do this? And they've now done it at home. Now they have to do it on the road. And what's interesting about this coming up, obviously going to Miami is going to be very difficult. But I think that they're more suited now to play on the road than ever before, because I think this is a team that could be very good in transition and counterattacking. I think they're built for that. So I think we're going to see that coming up. I don't know if it's going to lead to victories, but I do think that the Revolution on the road are going to be better than we saw at the beginning of the season. I also saw that against Red Bull. Very well organized. This is a completely different team than the one under Caleb Porter. Changing the manager matters. It mattered a great deal. And I think you're seeing it. You can focus on what they don't have, the lack of depth, all of that. Sure, you want to go there? I'll mention that. Do they need more depth? I could argue yes. But as the Revolution Recap mentioned, how about giving players in Revs too a chance. We saw that in the Open Cup match. There might be players that can step up, but they sure do need more depth. But what they have right now starting, pretty good. It's pretty good. The Revs are fifth in the conference. Not too bad. All right. Coming up next, I'm going to go through my 5 takeaways, and I'll end with final thoughts. Okay. So let's get to my 5 takeaways from this victory for the Revs. And let's start with number 5. Give set piece coach Mark Ortiz Esteban a raise from the improvement on set pieces. I think it's obvious that the set piece coach has been doing a tremendous job. Yes, he came in last season, but this season alone, we're seeing so many goals and goal scoring opportunities coming off of set pieces. It's insane the amount that they're doing. I think part of it is also putting Luca Langoni being the one delivering the majority of the set pieces. Carlos Gil is doing some, but the ones that Langoni's been doing have been phenomenal. Right on point and giving the Revs a chance to score. And listen, this is not a bad thing when you are a developing team trying to find your identity, trying to find your style of play, which I think they're still searching. They're still trying to get into that mode. Being able to score on set pieces is a wonderful way to get you to that next level. Because right now, scoring from open play is not as easy as it is from scoring from set pieces. So give this guy a raise. He's done a tremendous job. And it's not just obviously Luca Langoni. It's the players, buying into what the coach is selling because it is working. It is dangerous almost every single time. I'm not used to seeing that from any team I've supported. So to see the Revs be like Arsenal right now on set pieces is insane. They're not doing it the same way, but they are as dangerous as Arsenal is on set pieces. How crazy is that to say? But that's the truth. If you watch Arsenal and you watch the Revs, both teams are very dangerous on set pieces. So yes, I'm giving set piece coach Mark Ortiz Esteban a lot of credit because he has upped the game and helped the Revolution get to where they want to be. Not just to be about set pieces, but it is a stage that they're in, and this helps them with this stage. All right, let's go to number 4. To overcome the injury to Brian Ceballos early in the match was a key to this victory. Now, what's interesting here, because I'll be talking about Mitrovic coming up next, the decision here, but this was not an easy thing to overcome. Ceballos, in my opinion, is your best defender. It looks like he reportedly might have a groin injury, so he comes off. And I'm thinking they're going to do a like for like, just bring on another center back, maybe bring on Beeson. I'm not a big fan of Beeson, but he can do a job if you needed him to do. So this is where Mitrovic deserves a lot of credit in the players too. He decided, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to change things around. And he started Ethan Kohler in central midfield. Now, Ethan Kohler, I believe, has played right back. He was a center back with Mitrovic in the U setup for the U.S. men's teams. He was part of that. So he puts him back, takes him from central midfield, puts him at center back, moves Yusuf to central midfield, which I think is where he should be, and then brings Peyton Miller in. Think about the moves and how that all played out. Now, the Revolution do give up a goal. I don't think Kohler had really, it was about him, but they do give up a goal. Beyond that, solid from that point on. Kohler did his job. He did his job well. Is he Ceballos? No. But you're asking a player that has just walked into a position that he wasn't planning to start the game and a different mindset and just go into, you know what, you're going to take the place of Ceballos, who's our best defender. Go ahead and do it. And he did what I thought was a very good job. So congratulations to him. Then Yusuf just took over Kohler's job, and then Miller took over where Yusuf was. It all worked, but they had to overcome that. And this is a huge part of this victory. It could have easily gone wrong. It could have gone terribly wrong, but it didn't. There was no massive drop off. Like I mentioned, you give up the goal, but beyond that, they did more than enough to win this match. More importantly, it got them to halftime, and then everything changed at halftime. And we'll talk about that when we talk about Mitrovic. But I think this is a huge key to the victory because it could have gone wrong when Brian Ceballos goes out early in the match, and it simply did not. All right, let's go on to number 3. And let's talk about the striker, which I think is probably the hardest job right now on the Revs is the striker. Part of that has to do with the system of play that Mitrovic plays. It's the same that I see at Fulham. So whoever is the striker has a difficult job, the hardest job, because you're going to be running a lot. You're going to have the chance to hold the ball up. You have to do that. You're going to be doing a lot. And then you have to hope that you get service. And if you don't get service, it's a difficult job. And you're basically judged. Strikers, and I disagree with this, many judge them solely on goals scored. I think their job is more detailed than just scoring goals. And I think Turgeman is a testament to that. So Dort Turgeman continues to step up his role as the striker. In my mind, a striker is not just scoring goals, it's assisting, it's working hard, it's pressing, it's doing everything. It's a hard job. It's not just a job in this system that you're just about scoring goals. So get past that. You have to work your tail off as a striker for the New England Revolution in this system. Turgeman stepped up, scored on a set piece, wonderful header. And then, listen, I can make the argument maybe he did a little bit of a dive to win the penalty. Again, the angle isn't the greatest on the replay, but he was involved in what ended up being the winning goal because it was a penalty. It was called a penalty, and you have Carlos Hill taking it, but the person that was fouled was Dort Turgeman. So he was involved in both goals. So he deserves definitely a huge mention in this match, and I don't think he gets enough credit, and I think it has to do all about scoring goals. Get it out of your head. Strikers do more than just score goals. I'm sick of that. I deal with it with Fulham. Raul Jimenez has been a tremendous player for Fulham all year long. And if you just look at the goals, you're not going to think so. There was a wonderful podcast I watched from a former Fulham player, Bobby Zamora, who was asked in his first season by his manager that basically, even though he was a striker, he was going to be asked to do more than just that, basically set up the team, play more of like a number 10, even though he was the striker. And he didn't score many goals, and he got a lot of criticism for it. But his coach loved him, and his teammates loved him because he did what was asked of him. He was not just a striker. He was a team player. Dort Turgeman is similar to Bobby Zamora in that role, but he's also going to score a lot of goals. And by the way, Bobby Zamora, the next couple seasons, scored a lot of goals for Fulham. But he got so much criticism about this. So I'm used to the argument about strikers scoring goals. I think it's crap. I think they have a hard job to do. It's not just about scoring goals. I disagree with that. All right, let's get to number 2. Marko Mitrovic won the coaching battle. Now, what's interesting here is that when I watched the Columbus Crew, very impressed in that first half of a team, all knew their roles, and that comes from the coach. They were set up well. I knew that they also overcame an injury to start the game and made several substitutions in the second half. But the reason why Marko won the coaching battle is one big time is that he had to make a key substitution, which I just talked about. He had to reconfigure his team after the injury, and that is huge. And then if anyone has not watched this, watch, I believe it's on Instagram, what Mitrovic said at halftime to the players to motivate them to go out there and win the match. And the players have bought into it. But again, that speech at halftime, that obviously did something. And I'm paraphrasing, but he's basically trying to get them to be more aggressive in the second half, to not be as passive. And that's exactly what you saw in the second half. You saw this was a classic, a tale of two halves. So if you just look at the first half, you're going to think the Revolution should have lost 3 or 4-0. I think that would be fair to say, right? But then say you just turned it on to start the second half, you would have seen a completely different team. Same players, different attitude. They really did not change much up tactically. It was more to do with aggressiveness and the way that they went out and took the game away from the Columbus Crew. And that comes from Marko Mitrovic. And that's why I'm saying is that he got through to his players. And he made the right substitutions. He made substitutions later on. The decisions he made led to this victory. He won the coaching battle. And I am very impressed so far what I'm seeing from Mitrovic. It's not just like I said, I like the fiery thing. But what I really like is that the players are buying into what he is selling. I'll talk about that coming up next. That to me can't be undersold. It is so important that the players have the buy-in. But he also has to be a good coach and have the system in place to do what needs to be done to put the players in the right position to succeed. Now, I might not agree with everything that he does. I'm not crazy about playing Yusuf out on wing. I don't agree with that. I don't, because I think that his role is better essentially, but he's trying to get his best players on the pitch at the same time. So I think that's what's going on there. But you know what? More often than not, he's making the right decisions and deserves a ton of credit. Please do not tell me again that coaching, it doesn't matter. Caleb Porter, I'm sorry, was a disaster. A disaster. I could see it the moment they hired him that this would be the wrong hire. Absolute wrong hire. And it turned out that way. I'm not saying the players quit on him because I don't think they did. I don't think that they played for him the way that the players are right now under Mitrovic. That matters, and that's going to lead to my number one takeaway. The Revs players have bought into Mitrovic's vision and are changing the culture with the Revs. Like I just mentioned, this is massive. I know when a team is invested and when they're not. This team is invested right now. They're playing for each other. They're playing for their coach. It is great to see. The Revs are going to lose matches. They've got a tough one coming up over the weekend against Inter Miami. On the face of it, you think that they're going to get clobbered? We'll see. We'll see how the culture handles that. They're also playing midweek, so it's not going to be easy. But what you're seeing right now is something that is going to pay off for a long period of time. Go back to Bruce Arena. How important was Bruce Arena? It wasn't just his coaching. It wasn't just the players that he brought in. It was the culture. It was buying into what Bruce Arena was selling. And it worked very well. It worked incredibly well. I'm still upset about how things happen with Bruce Arena. I don't know the scandal. I can't speak to that. I can just speak to what Bruce Arena was as a coach. And he is a phenomenal coach. And he built a culture here that took a step back when Caleb Porter came in. Well, now we have a different type of manager and a different type of culture, but it is similar to Arena. It is similar, meaning that you're all in it together. And that's a wonderful thing. And I think as fans, you want a team that wants to win and wants to play together and play with joy. And you're seeing that, playing for each other. It's a wonderful thing. And Mitrovic has a lot to do with that, his coaching staff, and the players have bought in. Regardless of what happens the rest of this season, the future is bright for the New England Revolution because they have bought in to Marko Mitrovic. Listen, I'm a Patriots fan. I could say the same thing with Vrabel. The big difference last season was the players buying into Vrabel. Did they have the best players in the league? No, it's not always about that. It's not about having that DP player. If you have a bunch of good players that buy in, you can win a lot of matches. Can you win the whole thing and don't have like high-end talent? Probably not. But you can be a very good team, and a very good team that represents your community, which the New England Revolution do right now. Get behind this team. Fun to watch. Really fun to watch. Fun to support because you could tell that they care. And it starts with the manager and his coaching staff. All good stuff. And that's the best way to end this show, is to ignore the noise. This is something that I'm used to under the Belichick era. Ignore the noise. If you are a member of the Fellowship of the Miserable and are always looking for the yeah buts, you're welcome to listen to this show too. I'm all for it. My job is to try to convince you to stop saying yeah but. That's what I'm going to try to do on football's global hub. I want to get you to stop saying yeah but and just enjoy watching the Revolution, because that's what I do. I enjoyed this match. That's how I'm going to end this show. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. My name's Russ Goldman. Thank you, as always, for watching and listening to Football's Global Hub.